The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Amos, a member of SIMalliance's communications team. I'd like to warmly welcome you to this SIMalliance webinar on 5G SIM. Before handing you over to Stephane Jacquelin, Chair of the SIMalliance 5G Working Group, there are a few housekeeping points that I would like to quickly walk through. All attendees will remain muted during the session to reduce feedback and background noise. The webinar will run for 40 minutes, including time for questions. You may all submit questions using the webinar dashboard. Your questions will be collected throughout the webinar and we will try to answer as many as possible at the end. However, if we do not have time to answer all questions during this session, we will reply individually by email following the webinar. Now, I'll pass you over to Stephane to begin our presentation. Next slide, please.
Thank you very much. So let's first introduce who is the SIMalliance, who we were. Well, SIMalliance members represent like 90% of the global SIM market, and we deliver the most widely distributed secure element platform, secure application platform in the world, the SIM card, or also known as the UICC and USIM. Just to give you some rough numbers, in 2017, we shipped 5.6 billion units. So the SIM market is 5.6 billion units. So now let's go into the heart of the presentation, that is 5G SIM, maximizing mobile networks operator investment in 5G network. So first, let's see at the migration, the migration path that we see in 5G. The migration has actually begun. As you can see on the map, the world is going to 5G. And here you have some GSA and GSMA numbers stating that in 2025, in some markets, 5G will have a 50% penetration. Currently, there are 67 mobile networks operators in 39 countries that have announced 5G availability between 2018 and 2022. You see really here that 5G is coming now. It's going to be quite fast, and it's coming everywhere. Let's see about now the timeline of 5G. Timeline from a standardization standpoint, and you know that the standardization body in our cellular world is 3GPP. The timeline in 3GPP is that for the first release of 5G, that is R15, it has been released in September 2018, and really this release is mostly focusing on mobile broadband use case, so more throughput, better reactivity of the network, leveraging some technology like having a new radio interface, new spectrum, new radio modulation, to have a very low latency, so very high reactivity of the network, and very high throughput. Natural evolution of what we have seen in 2G, 3G, 4G, with technology enabling even more and more mobile broadband. Then we have the 3GPP release 16, but this one will be released only at the end of this year in terms of standardization. And there will be a focus on massive IoT. So what is massive IoT is the Internet of Things, the explosion of connected objects. And on another use case that is mission critical communication. So that are all the police network, for example, but not only, all what is around the medical use cases, all as well what is around connected robots in the industries that needs a very, very high reliability, very, very strong reactivity of the network. And the technologies that will be introduced with this 3GPP release 16 will be network slicing, network virtualization. We have heard of those words from some times now, and it's going to come in 3GPP release 16. All what is regarding enhancing, again, the power management to better address the massive IoT use cases, and the stronger reliability specifically for mission critical communication. So during this presentation, I'm going to really focus on 3GPP release 15, that is the first release where 5G is introduced in 3GPP. What is important to start with is that in this 3GPP specification, the tamper-resistant hardware component is mandatory according to 3GPP release 15, and that only the UICC is mandated. So the UICC being basically the SIM card. So only the UICC is mandated to, for all the use cases around authentication to the 5G networks. Soon we will release as well some more information on 3GPP release 16, but again, this presentation is really focusing on 3GPP release 15, 1.5. So what are now, let's have a look at now, what are the mobile networks operator challenges? What are they facing while introducing 5G? Well, the first point is really a challenge is really to ensure a very good quality of experience from the end user standpoint. Deploying a new network, there are new 5G networks, there is a high expectation from the subscriber standpoints, and to ensure that they have a very good quality of experience is key. Second point is all what is around subscriber privacy. We have seen, a lot of things happening around this subject. Right now with you have all heard about Facebook going in front of the US authority or the European authority to prove and to demonstrate that the subscribers, their user privacy is protected. There are some new regulation ongoing with GPDR in Europe around protecting the subscriber privacy, and this is a challenge that is coming along with 5G. We have seen as well the explosion of the Internet of Things, and managing the battery life of those connected objects that are not necessarily connected to the power grid is key. And managing this battery life that will, whereas the lifetime of the device is really depending on this battery life for those connected devices running only on batteries is key. And extending this battery life is one of the key challenges as well of MNOs that they are facing right now. Along with 5G will come a lot of IP services, some IP services that we already know and that will be improved by 5G, or some IP services that are still to be invented. And a challenge is how to secure and deliver all those IP services along with 5G deployment. Network resource optimization is key. Why is it key? Is that deploying 5G, it's an investment for mobile networks operators, leading to some CapEx and OpEx. And making the best use of those network resources is one of the challenge. And here, how to optimize resource deployment is as well key for mobile networks operator. And then security. Security is one of the key challenges as well, because the relationship between subscribers and mobile networks operators is a trusted relationship, and trust is a key asset. Trust that subscribers have in mobile network operator is a key asset, and security needs to be addressed properly. So you will tell me, okay, but what about the SIM in 5G? What about the SIM in addressing all those challenges? Well, this is the purpose of next slide. The SIM can help to address the different challenges I've been describing in previous slide. How to ensure a good quality of experience while deploying 5G networks? Well, through the SIM, we can monitor the end user experience, and specifically in the 5G layer. And I will go into more details in the following slides into all of these use cases and all the SIM advantage technology. But to make sure that there is a very good quality of experience from the end user standpoint, the SIM card can help there to monitor the end user quality of experience. End user can be a human or can be a machine, of course. Then how to address the challenge that we have seen all regarding subscriber privacy. Well, the subscriber identification right now, it is for the technical person on the call, it's CMC, is sent over the air in clear in the current technology, meaning that anybody can grab this ID and follow you. Here we can, in fact, crypt this subscriber ID, so when it's sent over the air, nobody can grab it. So we'll see into more details about this point, but here the SIM can definitely help by protecting the subscriber privacy by encrypting the subscriber ID in a secure vault that is a SIM card. Again, this subscriber privacy is one of the key challenges that mobile networks operators are facing. Now, I was talking about Internet of Things and in those connected devices running on battery. Here, the SIM can help as well to reduce the power consumption, of the SIM, but more importantly, reduce the power consumption of the whole device. We have some functionalities that are in the SIM cards for the SIM cards to help to reduce power consumption of the whole device, and we'll go into more details on this one. I was talking about all those IP services that are coming along with 5G. Thanks to the SIM cards, we can secure the authentication to those IP services through the IMS networks that they have, that mobile network operators are currently using and will continue to use in 5G to manage some IP services. We can then as well refresh over IP through an HTTPS protocol, the SIM cards, when the SIM cards need to be refreshed, and we can do that, and we'll see that into more details again in following slides. Then to be able to manage, the congestion for best use of the network resources, for an optimal use of the network resources, we can have in the SIM card some service prioritization to minimize the impact on the service while there is congestion, or to be able to monetize eventually some service prioritization for some subscribers. Here we can have all those priority configurations within the SIM cards to make the best use of your network resources that are deployed. And of course, security. The SIM card here, the SIM technology in 5G, enable to secure the access of the 5G networks to be able to protect the key asset that the mobile network operator has with his subscribers, that is the trust asset. So let's see now into more details in next slide. How does the SIM address each of those MNO challenges? And I will go now into more detail in each of the subjects that I've been touching in the previous slide. So ensuring a good quality of experience. Well, the mobile networks operator are deploying a brand new network that is 5G, and they want their subscriber to have a very good experience. So here, the SIM, the challenge is really to prevent an end user service failure, or to even optimize its experience while roaming abroad in some 5G networks and minimizing the associated cost. Here, the SIM can definitely help to ensure that and monitor the quality of experience of the subscriber on 5G layers through the SIM, and without a need to have mobile phone applications to monitor that. You have several operating systems, iOS, Android, or even for all the connected objects, you have some other exotic operating system. Here you can monitor some parameters of the quality of experience through the SIM cards without the need of phone applications, with some applications that are actually running on the SIM cards, and you can retrieve that on some servers to monitor your end user quality of experience in 5G, in 4G and 3G as well, but in 5G here, the new network layer that you are going to deploy. As well, we can manage all the roaming configuration via the SIM cards, while then your subscriber, while you will be roaming abroad, you can do some automatic selection of the relevant networks, where you have some best roaming agreements from a cost standpoint, but as well for your 5G subscribers to offer them the best experience roaming on partners that have 5G network technology deployed. So that will depend, of course, on the business agreements between operators and on maybe the business agreements that the subscriber has with its mobile network operator. So let's see now all this privacy topics, subscriber privacy. This is definitely a challenge for mobile networks operator. Mobile subscriber, identity right now, that is, I was calling it right now, it's called the MC, is sent over the air in clear. And anybody that buys on the dark web an INSI catcher, for example, can locate and trust individuals and eventually collect data. So this is definitely an issue, and it's definitely a challenge for mobile networks operator because they need to protect the end user digital identity and to protect his reputation, but as well to comply with regulations. And then there are some local regulations. I was mentioning one in the introduction, that is GDPR in Europe, where mobile networks operators need to ensure to have the subscriber privacy and need to carefully look at that. So how the 5G SIM can help there? Well, we have now the possibility to encrypt in the SIM, so in the secure vault, this end user digital identity and to send it so crypted over the air. So the SIM, can then offer a trusted and standardized, and means fully standardized technical answer that is fully under control of the MNO in its secure vault, that is the SIM cards, so they are able to further protect the subscriber privacy, so ensuring really mobile subscriber privacy. Now let's see all what is happening around the Internet of Things and how to address IoT low power devices. So the challenge that mobile networks operator have is that some devices are running on batteries and only on batteries. For example, water meter at your house. If it is a connected water meter, it's usually not connected to the power grid, so it's running on batteries, and the batteries need to last for maybe 10 years. So the challenge is to limit the power consumption of the whole devices, and there are more and more use cases like that. I was mentioning the water meter, but there are some agricultural use cases with some sensors monitoring temperature, humidity, or eventually some waste management use cases that your garbage is not connected to a power grid but running on battery. So how the SIM can help here? We are leveraging some functionalities that were standardized previously, where we have some modes where the SIM can go to hibernation. Basically, when the device is going to sleep, then the device is sending a message to the SIM saying, okay, I'm going to sleep. It's going to suspend mode, meaning that it's saving all what he was doing. And when the device is turning off, it's resuming, and it's like if nothing has happened. So in fact, you don't need to do a whole re-authentication cycle to the network. Everything is completely smooth, and to be able to save some energy with some suspend and resume functionality in the SIM card. So not only helping to reduce the power consumption of the SIM, but on the whole device. We can as well have some functionality to reduce the interaction between the device and the SIM cards to optimize the energy consumption. And for the technical persons on this call will be the pool interval negotiation, for example. And we can, of course, help to optimize the usage of network resources through optimized communication with the device, with pool interval negotiation. Okay, so here the SIM for all those IoT use cases for devices running on battery can definitely help to extend the battery life, save power, and to be able to address those IoT low power devices. Now, if we go to next slide, that is basically so the point that is with 5G and with 5G that is going to be deployed on that, or that is being deployed in 3GPP release 15. It's an all IP network, and there are all IP services. And the challenges for mobile networks operators will be really to monetize the innovative IP services required. So some that we already know, voice over IP, Wi-Fi calling, virtual reality, HD video, and some that still need to be invented, of course. And another challenge is for mobile networks operator to download large applications within the SIM while meeting end user expectation and user experience expectation. Downloading a new service on the SIMs need to be a matter of seconds, and that is really the end user expectation. And this is what they have right now, while they are downloading some Android or iOS applications, and it needs to be the same on the SIM. When they are deploying some large application in the SIM, it needs to be almost instantaneous. So how can the SIM help there? Well, the SIM cards, it can be really optimized over 5G and with these all IP networks, with some large applications that can be downloaded while meeting this end user expectation. With OTA over HTTPS, for example, it's definitely something that is required in 5G. You can update as well all those roaming agreement parameters that I was mentioning previously to optimize the end user experience, minimizing the cost, and managing basically the SIM cards while reducing the cost operation with a better efficiency, higher security with this HTTPS protocol. So here, to be able to unleash the deployment of those new IP services, the SIM can definitely help running on this all IP network that is 5G. Let's see now, regarding the topic, let's see the topic on optimization of network resources while maintaining service quality for the subscribers. Now, mobile networks operators are deploying 5G networks. And this investment needs to be, really closely monitored. You need to minimize your investment while maximizing the end user experience. So the network, utilization is growing. The more you offer to your subscribers, the more they consume. We have seen that in the past. And network capacity could be underestimated in some area, or there are some congestions that could occur in 5G. Also, it is a very powerful technology in some area. In some specific conditions, some congestion can occur. Instead of buying some new network resources, you need to really optimize that as a network operator. And this is really the challenge, to optimize the resources that are deployed. And there is a need for prioritization, a flexible prioritization of services to be able to generate eventually more revenue if you can charge for this, prioritization, or at least to minimize the impact on the end user services. So how can the SIM help there? Well, we have some prioritizations that can be done in the SIM and that you could eventually monetize to give, for example, the priority of multimedia services over other services that will be less affected if there is a bit of delay in the reception. So here you can parameter that within the SIM card, configure that within the SIM cards to prioritize services to be able to then monetize it. This prioritization will depend on the MNO policy, depending on the deployment scenario, subscriber profile, or depending on as well maybe how much the mobile network operator are charging to their subscribers for a specific service, for example. So this configuration can be remotely configured, can be remotely managed through the life cycle of the SIM cards. Depending if the MNO policy are evolving, you can remotely configure that over the air, and this is bringing some more flexibility for the mobile networks operator to manage this prioritization, to be able to optimize the resource while maintaining really the service quality for the subscribers. So, now let's talk a bit about security. Security, is key, and I strongly believe that security is key. And why is it key? It's because there is really a trusted relationship between the subscriber and the mobile networks operator. Some subscribers or even some company are really trusting mobile networks operators, and this trust asset is key. So ensuring a secure access to the network is key. The challenge really is to protect the end user and the MNO assets while enabling a smooth end user experience. The security doesn't have to generate a bad end user experience. So protecting the asset of the end user and the MNO asset while having a smooth end user experience is really a challenge and is key. Another point that there is in 5G is that in 5G, we can mutualize the different access networks method. So we are not limited to only cellular technology. We can leverage as well some other radio technology, for example, to and aggregate those different throughputs to offer a very good end user experience. So we can aggregate Wi-Fi capacity with cellular capacity to offer a very good end user experience. So, but you understand that this leads to some security issue and security challenges for mobile networks operator to have a smooth end user experience while authenticating to those different type of networks. So this is a challenge that definitely need to be addressed. A clear requirement and a clear, input that we have from mobile networks operator is that we need to offer at minimum the security level available for 3G and 4G. We don't want to deploy really 5G while, at least for release 15, while minimizing the network security level. So security level need to be at least the same of 3G and 4G. And protecting the reputation of mobile network operator as a trusted entity is definitely key. So you need to protect your network assets against attack while having a smooth offering, a smooth end user experience. So how can the SIM help there? Well, we can enhance the end user experience with a fast network reconnection upon device restart. If your subscriber has the authentication to cellular networks and Wi-Fi, here we can authenticate really fast again to the Wi-Fi network by storing all the network access temporary keys within a secure vault that is the SIM cards. Here we can store the keys of the cellular network, some keys of Wi-Fi, to have a very smooth end user experience while protecting the mobile network operator asset that is the trust that subscriber has in their mobile networks operator. So we can store a lot, we can store the temporary keys of 5G into the secure vault that is the SIM cards. We still have a mutual authentication like we had in 3G and 4G, so we are not degrading at all the security level. What do we mean by mutual authentication is that the subscriber is authenticated by the network and the network is authenticated by the subscriber in a way. So you are sure that this is the correct subscriber that is authenticated to the correct network and vice versa. So there is a mutual authentication that is there in 5G as well. And thanks to the secure vault that is a SIM, we can, of course, protect against cloning attack. So the SIM cards here, the 5G SIM cards, can definitely help to protect the mobile networks operator asset, to protect the end user, while offering a smooth end user experience. So let's sum up a bit. So just to remind you as a conclusion, well, 3GPP release 15, we see some deployments occurring right now. It's coming worldwide, and in 3GPP release 15, only the SIM card, so it's the UICC, is mandated to secure access to the 5G network. Okay, this is an important point here. And the 5G SIM cards can answer to most of the MNO challenges, at least all the MNO challenges that I've been describing in this presentation. How? Well, by monitoring the end user quality of experience, mobile networks operators are definitely deploying a new 5G layer, and monitoring the end user quality of experience is key to detect any issue. Then we can protect subscriber privacy thanks to the SIM cards by encrypting the subscriber ID within the SIM cards before it is sent over the air. Subscriber privacy is key and can be protected thanks to 5G SIM cards. We can extend the battery life of devices, particularly relevant for those connected object devices, also those connected objects devices that are running on battery. We can help to secure the delivery of the IP services, of some IP services. We can as well do some prioritization to have a really good network resource optimization and give a priority of some services depending if there are some congestion in some area. And of course, we, thanks to the 5G SIM cards, enable the mobile networks operator to protect a key asset, that is the trust assets between subscriber and mobile networks operator, by enabling security. And we saw the security use cases that are enabled thanks to the 5G SIM cards in this presentation. The third point I wanted to make here is that, well, I'm sure that there are some technical person in this call and say, okay, I need to understand more from a technical standpoint what is really the definition of a 5G SIM cards. Well, we have the documentation for you. It is available on the SIMalliance website. You can download that in the 5G area of the SIMalliance website. And we have built a document where you have the 3GPP release 15 5G SIM card, a definition. And there you will find some 3 types of SIM cards that are defined into this documentation, so you can see in technical way and in more technical details what is really a 5G SIM card that I was describing here, with detailing the different features and functionality that we have in the 5G SIM cards. So this is the end of the presentation. I let you the floor, David.
Thank you very much, Stephane, for that. That was great. Before we move on to the Q&A session, I just want to remind everyone that a recording of this webinar will be made available on the SIMalliance website as well, for your future reference. Thank you to everybody for submitting their questions throughout the session. If you have any questions once this webinar closes, please address them to the SIMalliance comm team. You'll see the contact details are available on the slide now. Okay, so let's move on to the Q&A session. So next slide, please. So first up, do I need to change my SIM card for 5G? Is a question we've received.
Well, in fact, the SIMalliance is recommending the recommended 5G SIM. And this is a SIM card, 5G UICC, defined in the documents that have been described before, that has at the minimum, this subscriber privacy functionality, the UICC-based subscriber privacy at the minimum. So while the 5G SIM cards enable a device to authenticate a 5G network, it also has some additional use cases, as I've been just describing in this webinar. So we, in the SIMalliance, have identified 3 types of 5G SIM cards that are described in this document. That is the transitional SIM, the recommended 5G SIM, and the low power SIM. So 3 different type of SIM cards. You can find, again, more information at the SIMalliance web in the 3GPP release 15 5G SIM card, a definition document. So if you are a customer or corporation, really it will depend on your mobile networks operator to decide which SIM card configuration to use. And if you are a mobile network operator, then we recommend you as a SIMalliance to adopt the recommended 5G SIM to leverage the full power of 5G with all the functionalities that have been and functionality and added values that have been describing into this webinar. I don't know if you have some other questions.
Yes, thank you for that, Stephane. Yeah, we have some more questions. So regarding subscriber privacy, does this mean that nowadays MNOs are not protecting their subscriber privacy?
Well, currently, you know, in 2G, 3G, and 4G, this subscriber identifier, that is the IMSI, you know, in more technical words, is sent over the air. So it's sent by your phone over the air to the base station in clear. And it has been proven that with a simple equipment that is called the IMSI catcher that you can buy on the dark web, the IMSI can be misused very easily. And as I stated in this presentation, you know, mobile network operator can better protect their subscriber privacy in 5G networks. How? Well, by encrypting really this IMSI in the SIM before the device is sending it over the air. So basically, it's sent encrypted over the air. It's no more clear. And to be compliant with GDPR and iPrivacy, you know, those are a regulation in Europe, for example, but I'm sure they are equivalent in other parts of the world. The mobile networks operator should really carefully look into those regulations, and failure to comply with those regulations will leave the mobile networks operator exposed, of course. So I hope I answered to this question, and I'm not sure you have another one, David.
Yeah, I think we may have time for at least one more. So regarding SIMalliance specifically, how is SIMalliance working to support the ecosystem as it transitions to 5G?
Well, really, it's part really of the SIMalliance mission to facilitate and accelerate the delivery of a secure connected service globally. The SIMalliance organization is working on and really focused on educating mobile networks operators on how standardized SIM technology is evolving and how, you know, it will enable them to unlock the full potential of 5G network investments. But the SIMalliance is not only working with mobile networks operators, of course. SIMalliance, in addition, is collaborating with the whole mobile industry, with different stakeholders in mobile industry, including but not limited to, of course, OEMs, chipset makers, I could say service providers, and of course we are in close collaboration with the different standardization bodies in this area. So really the SIMalliance is supporting and making its best to support the ecosystem as a transition to 5G, and I guess you had a kind of proof point of that with this presentation of 5G SIM maximizing MNO investment in 5G networks, and highlighting you know, all the challenges and the added value of the SIM cards to be able to answer to these challenges there.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephane. So we've now reached our scheduled finish time. So thank you to everybody for joining. It's very much appreciated. Just a flag that we've taken a note of all questions that have been submitted during today's session, and as mentioned earlier, we'll be sending individual responses over email. If you could just allow a few working days for those responses to be processed. Thank you to Stephane for hosting, and thanks again for everyone for joining and for participating, and have a good afternoon.